evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to you all. Pune International Literary Festival presents an evening with Manjiri Prabhu's new destination thriller, The Mystery of the Portuguese Hearts. Yes, we can give a big round of applause. This is a very special and happy occasion, a literary celebration, and I, Renu Arya, take great pleasure in hosting the event. Pune International Literary Festival is an annual literary gathering of authors, thinkers, creative personalities, readers, and more, with the aim to celebrate creativity. Now, in its 12th year, PILF is a free event that no literary and artistic enthusiast will want to miss. Under its banner, for the first time, we are organizing a book launch event outside the festival. A celebration and launch of The Mystery of the Portuguese Hearts by Manjiri Prabhu. So once again, a grand welcome to you all. We will now be showing a short clip on PILF, the signature montage. Destination thriller is a genre created by Manjiri in which she uses the destination as the character in the novel, which takes the story forward. And so, if you remove the destination, there is no story. And if you replace or change the destination, it becomes a new story. So let's begin this evening with a short clip introducing Manjiri as an author and her journey of magical creations. Wow, that was a fascinating journey. And to continue with the thrill and mystery of Manjiri's genre, we now have a mystery launch today. You were each given a chit while you came, right? Good. So now that chit has a number written behind it. Does everyone have the chit? So now we will choose two lucky names from this pile of chits. Let us see who will launch the book with Manjiri today. May I request Mrs. Shobha Prabhu to pick a chit, please? So number 14. Can we see who is number 14? Wow. Can you join us here, please? May we request Mrs. Shobha Prabhu to pick the second chit, please? So who's the number 29? Awesome. Please join us. So these are our two lucky special guests today. May I request both of you to introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, I'm Lochna Bani. I'm a veterinary surgeon. I practice in Vanori and I'm a very good friend of Manjiri's. I'm so proud to be here and all the best to you, Manjiri, and congratulations too.
Good evening, everyone. I am Jaya Gadgil, and Manjiri, what an honor to be here with you and a great pleasure. I'm a French teacher, and I'm very, very happy to be here to help to be with her for this event. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And now for the special unveiling of the book. Thank you. That was amazing. We shall now see a small teaser of the book. Let us play the teaser now. What a thrilling teaser. It was almost as if, we're seeing a trailer and the movie is going to continue. We could just continue sitting here for 3 more hours, Manjiri. Now, could we request Dr. Manjiri Prabhu to give us a few words, please?
Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. This is really a very special evening for me, the launch of The Mystery of the Portuguese Hearts. My 21st book. I keep saying my 21st because only I know what I've been through doing the 21st book. So each book is like 9 months of pregnancy, ditching, climbing hills, rappelling, 100 births, all that. That's why I keep saying 21st very proudly, simply because it's a tough journey, okay? But it's my 4th destination thriller, and I'm really happy that all of you are here with me today. Gratitude fills my heart today for the amazing journey of this book. I mean, you've been seeing those videos, the visuals in the beginning in the slideshow, because I was there, and I know that this journey has been really long, 4-5 years to write this book actually. It began in the pre-COVID times, and we decided that we would do this book, and then COVID happened and everything went for a toss, and I thought, now this book is gone. But you won't believe it that the Portuguese embassy and the tourism, they reached out to me and said, let's do this. So I'm really grateful to them that, destiny played out a very different kind of role with this book. The right people reached out to fulfill promises and collaborate, and it is proof that this novel was really destined to be born. So first and foremost, I want to say a huge thank you to His Excellency Carlos Pereira Marques, the Honorable Portuguese Ambassador to India in 2019, because of whom this book really got its start. His enthusiasm and the enthusiasm of his tourism team, which is Visit Portugal, that's from India, and Visit Porto and North Portugal from Portugal, their enthusiasm matched mine in every single way, So thank you, Claudia Matias. She's not here, of course. She was supposed to be. Katia Barbosa and Harpreet Singh Arora. They're not here, but I'm going to convey my gratitude to them. Thank you also to Jaico Publishing for taking up this book and giving it much love. Special thanks to my friends Renu Arya, she's here behind me, Sarita, you're right there, Sarita Zambre, Amit Rawat, Rohit Jarajini, and Nitin Patil. Thank you so much. All of these people are always there when I need them. Okay. Writers are a lonely tribe, and they work in isolation for the majority part of the time. So a celebration of their work is important and a necessity for them. It is at times like this, when friends, readers, writers, and well-wishers all turn up in good numbers, thank you so much, to encourage a book that I'm filled with hope. Writers, especially fiction writers, all writers, but especially fiction writers, they're a very weird breed. They need to feel needed, okay, and appreciated. And I'm grateful that each one of you is here today to satisfy a writer's urge. Thank you. It means a lot to me. On the same note, I would request all of you to do the same for other writers who would be at the Pune International Literary Festival in December. The dates of the festival are 14th and 15th December, and I hope to see you in large numbers there too. Thank you, Team PILF, always there. This is our first out-of-festival event, but we hope to do more now with writers. So if anybody wants to, please reach out and we can do things together. A heartfelt thank you again to each one of you, and hope you enjoy the book. I look forward to your reviews, honest reviews. You don't have to say good reviews just because you're my friends, but honest reviews. Once again, like you say in Portuguese, obrigada de coração. Thank you from my heart.
Thank you, Manjiri. Moving on to our next segment, we are going to be having a fascinating experience. Manjiri will now be reading an extract from her book, and Sarita Zambre would be painting live as she reads. Sarita Zambre is a professional architect and has her own successful architectural practice since 1989. She is a passionate Kathak dancer with her own dance school in Sopanbag since 2011. She is a watercolor artist and has discovered that she is good at doing pet portraits too. To top it all, she is also a Zumba enthusiast. Welcome, Sarita. Thank you so much for being here. Let us now experience this magical journey of words to watercolors. So now we watch as Manjiri reads and Sarita paints.
Yes, before we begin, I just want to give a brief introduction of what this scene is going to be like. I want Sarita to have the scope to paint, so I'm not going into the mystery part of it or stuff like that. So this scene takes place, so like you saw that Ricardo, when he was dying, the grandfather when he was dying, he told his granddaughter to follow the trail of the lenços, which are the love handkerchiefs that Anna left for him. And so while they're on that hunt and chase for it, they arrive at this place called Amarante, which has a really old bridge, and they're looking for gifts that Anna left for Ricardo. So I'm going to read it in two bits. First is the description that she can start with. Sarita, are you ready? They walked past the touristy I Love Amarante display towards the São Gonçalo Bridge. Ray had to pause and admire the ancient granite Pont de São Gonçalo, which overlapped the Tamega River. Its two half-moon hollow scoops under the bridge reflecting in the water to form a full O. The sun had set, but the afterglow of the pink and orange sky seemed to pervade Amarante in a luminescence which was powerfully sublime. They walked past the bridge in silence as Ray allowed the energy of the town to seep into his. Cars and people occupied space on the bridge, and tourists posed and clicked photos. On the right side of the bridge, rose the church, its ochre facade and the orange sloping roof simple yet charming. So when they go and they meet this person called Miguel, he tells Ray and Philippa that Anna has indeed left a song for Ricardo. So in Amarante there's a guitar which has two hearts, like the opening has two hearts. So it's called Amarante Viola. So he asks them, do you want to listen to the song that she's left for him some 30 years ago? And I'm going to read that part while she continues. Miguel fiddled with his phone and paused to stare at the two, his gaze intense. Are you ready? Presenting Ana Ribeiro to you. Ray's heart skipped a beat. To listen to Anna sing, the first real connection with the physical Anna, a shiver of anticipation ran down his spine. The light double strumming of a guitar slowly filled the evening, tentative at first, and then strong and demanding. Then a sweet, mellifluous voice joined in, singing a song which seemed to come straight from the heart. Anna's voice was firm, with the slightest of tremors to it, like a sustained twang of a melodious string. Ray did not understand the Portuguese words, but then he didn't need to. The unbridled emotion expressed with powerful abandon and yet laced with a sense of yearning, sent goosebumps scuttling down her skin. It was as if Anna was pouring all her incandescent love into the words and into its melody. The song was a statement, a declaration, and a promise. Mostly a promise to love forever. If this was an infinite proof of love, what was, he wondered. Twilight had fallen on the bridge. The lingering rosy hues luminescent beyond the bridge and the rippling water in the church. like a final goodbye. The clouds hung low like an apple cider colored field in the sky. A sharp wind had picked up, flapping Ray's pony and Philippa's curly waves. It was as if nature itself was rising to respond to the dulcet, sad yet catchy notes in the song, lifting them up and carrying them to her lover's ears, far and beyond to another realm. As the last notes of the song tapered to a slow finish, a deep silence seemed to claim the evening. For seconds, even the birds forgot to chirp. Ray's gaze spontaneously darted to Philippa. Her head was bent, and she brushed away a telltale slow trickle from her cheek. He experienced a quiet surge of satisfaction. All was not lost yet. Sarita will continue. You continue painting. We'll continue with our thing. Okay, all right. So she's going to take time to complete her painting. We will continue with our discussion.
That was really such a treat. Thank you, Manjiri. While we give Sarita time to finish her painting, we move on to the next segment of the evening. Unfortunately, due to a family emergency, Miss Devyani Mungali could not be here this evening. But we have Mr. Amit Rawat, who has kindly agreed to step in and be in conversation with Dr. Manjiri. Professionally, Amit is a startup mentor cum consultant who has helped founders, startup teams right through the stage of idea validation to funding, as he is also a strategic investor. Being an avid reader since teenage has helped him understand the world of fiction and non-fiction and related it to people and events. Welcome, Amit. I request you to take the conversation forward.
Hi, good evening, and ladies and gentlemen, a lot of ladies in fact, most of your friends. So how many of you know Manjiri directly or indirectly, except your friends?
Except the friends, okay.
And how many of you know me directly or indirectly, except Bipin and Manjiri's family?
And somebody behind it.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So you can confirm that I am not Mrs. Devyani, who couldn't be here.
Yeah, she could.
And glad to be the backup for this. And when I got a call from Manjiri like 48 hours earlier, this is the case. I said, fine, I'll be glad to do it, as I've done for a lot of other authors itself. But it's a special connection because it goes way back more than a decade when PILF started, and before that even when I was part of book clubs. Still am, but the book club scenario is not that active as it was pre-pandemic. That's the unfortunate part. But I guess we should start a PLF book club itself.
Yeah, sure.
So we met at a book club, and she asked me to be part of PILF. I had no idea about what PILF was, what was going in her brains with her partner in crime, Sonia Chandrachud. And that is how we came to be, the core part, apart from a family, the core group that created PILF and worked for it. And it's been a great journey. Okay. But everybody knows about PILF.
Yeah.
We are specifically here to discuss this particular book. And as she said, she was destined to be a writer. But I was also destined to be on the launch of her 21st book. 21st is a special date, she knows, because my birthday falls on 21st. And in the initial few years, we used to have PILF in the month of September. And quite a few times we have actually celebrated my birthday sitting while we were having, the team meetings for that. So a great occasion, and again, congratulations for the 21st book. The audience also would have a lot of questions, but I would start with the question. You have already explained, the where it began with the ambassador, requesting you to write something on Portugal. But again, there are so many other exciting or more glamorous countries. So again, why Portugal?
Well, so first, destination thrillers. Why? What is a destination thriller? Because that will answer why Portugal. So destination thrillers are basically where the country or the city and all its cultural elements create the story.
Right.
So obviously, when you remove the destination, the story falls flat. But it's more than that. It's the uniqueness of that cultural setup which makes the story unique. And I don't think anyone's done that before. You have Yash Chopra having song and dance on the Swiss Alps. But those are backdrops. If he were to take one Alp and base a story on that Alp and the history of the Alp, then it would be a destination story.
Right.
So that's what I mean by destination thrillers. Now, I started off in 2017 actively. I have always used different backdrops. In fact, my first book in 1994 was based in Alibag, and the second book in Panhara. I never called it a destination thriller. The term came much later. But actually, in 2014, I started off with The Trail of Four, which was based in Salzburg.
Right.
The second book was based in Sweden, Voice of the Runes. The third one near Munich, Lake Starnberg, Germany. And this was all Central Europe. And I thought that it was time for Re Parkar, who's actually an investigative journalist with psychic abilities, and he gets to see that this place is going to be in danger, and he goes there to prevent that danger from happening. So I thought, I've done so much of Central Europe. Why not think of something a little, far west?
Yeah.
And so I thought of Portugal, and when I spoke to the ambassador, they were very keen, and that's how this whole thing started. But other than that, Portugal has so much to offer. I don't know how many of you have been to Portugal. Have you? Anyone? Oh, you have. Okay, of course. So Portugal is an amazing country, landscape-wise. And specifically, the elements that you need for a thriller are all there. So I need something that happens. I just can't be a romance happening, sitting in a cafe in the Parisian pavement, nothing like that. It has to actually lead the story forward. And so I need cultural elements which are actually going to do that. And Portugal had those.
Right.
Two specific ones. One was the lenços, which you saw, which are love handkerchiefs that in the 18th century, the Portuguese women used to actually embroider on white linen and give them to their beloveds, and secretly. And if the beloved used to, whenever he used to be in the public, if he would drop that hanky on the floor, then it was a public declaration of his acceptance of her proposal, And I thought that was very sweet and perfect for a thriller, romantic thriller. So that's one thing. So there are many such things in the book which actually drew me to Portugal.
Right. Again, a follow-up question, because it's Portugal. India has had a very strong history or historical connection with Portugal, and still does. Yeah. And the biggest still remaining connect we have with Portugal is Goa.
Yeah.
So considering that in place, and we all have been to Goa at some point of the time, in either since teenage, I guess. So was it easier or difficult for you to trace back a history, talked about all the other things, the culture part, the romance part, nothing imperialistic in the history because it's on a mystery. Yeah. But making that connection, I would have expected something from Goa to Lisbon, but you took it from Pune to Portugal.
Yeah. Well, certainly I didn't want to touch Goa, to be very honest, because I don't want to bring in that kind of history. The destination thrillers are pure entertainment to represent that country in a lovely light so that more tourists go to that place, to be very honest. Because the thing is that I don't want to go into the underbellies of any country. I am not touching sensitive issues. My role is to entertain, which is why I left Goa out of it. Now, what was the second half of your question?
What is it easier?
What is it easier? Yeah, so since I'd left Goa out of it, there was no question of bringing Goa history in there. So when you go to a destination and you research for a novel, the novel is actually born in the soil of that country. I don't prepare a story here and then go there and research. It doesn't happen like that. It's not like I bring a story from outside and fit it into Portugal. I have a story which will be born there when I go there. So how easy is it? It is never easy. Writing a story on a country which is not your own which you don't know the language, you don't know the people, you don't know the culture, and yet you want to go and base something there is never easy. Especially because you are responsible for what you present to the world. So it's a very tough journey, it's a lengthy journey, the research is long, arduous, exciting of course, but a lot is at stake. Like for example, Portugal, when we launched the book in Delhi just now, the Portugal ambassador was so happy that he said, would you do a sequel? So my responsibility is to present something nice to the world. I believe in harmony, in love, compassion. I do that through all my novels. I don't want to go to areas which are what do you call them? Controversial. I don't want to go into any areas which are going to disturb my reader. I want to give a nice, pleasant experience.
Right. Some of the things like you have started a series of travel destination. I was thinking the same. Probably, we were. I was thinking of should I ask you whether there's going to be a sequel? Because it's quite exciting to see. Two things. Even when you were writing mystery books, which is your particular genre, you've always made sure that you make the reader travel to places, and then you unlock some mystery out there. So was this the plan when you started writing, or was it just mystery and then okay, let's localize it, then probably go national, or we say go global? Now you've gone global.
With the destination thrillers, you mean particularly? Well, so like I said, my destinations have always featured in my books. Right. They started off with local, yes. But along, like for example, in 2011, when I wrote The Cabin Site Conspiracy, okay, in that, it's a 48-hour story which takes place from Pune to Germany, to the Isle of Zilt, to London, and back to Pune. And all in 48 hours. So I've done it before. Right. I did not use those locals as characters, but I've done this thing of going across the country, across the world, and I have deliberately put myself into this tight spot of writing impossible stories in impossible timelines, with impossible research, only to challenge myself. Right. Writing mystery novels is more or less, you have some suspects, you have a problem, you have a detective or not, and it's solved. So there's a whodunit. But I wanted to go beyond that, challenge myself, so every book of mine is something different. And it was a deliberate attempt to step out of India and bring the world to India. I call myself a converse cultural diplomat. People write about their countries, I write about other countries.
So, with the travel destinations, a lot of writers, I've seen a lot of writers, including major ones, not even visit the place that they are about to write or they have written. And it kind of comes down from their research or hearsay stories from their friends or acquaintances. You actually make a point to that got confirmed, where you actually travel to the place, find out the, locales, the spots, the things that you want to, thread in your story, and then go about it. So is that being true to yourself or to being to your author, your readers?
No, of course, I totally believe that you must experience. I mean, I know that a mystery writer cannot experience everything. Yeah. It's not possible. I can't murder someone and say, hey, now I've experienced it, obviously. But there are things I can do, like I can travel, provided I have, of course, the resources and partners. If not, then I will do it on my own if I'm really desperate, but I will do it. I know that the Inspector Ghote mysteries, like you said, by H.R.F. Keating, were written in India, abroad, and that time there was no internet, and he wrote about Mumbai and all that, and I found that very fascinating. But I think it is, like you said, not true to yourself or to readers to go and write something without actually experiencing it. Especially also because I love travel, and traveling is my oxygen, and I feel that a destination thriller is not just basing a story there, it is also made up of the experiences I receive there, or the people I meet there, and the energy that I receive of that place. So whenever I'm writing, I'm always talking to the spirit of that place. I reach out to the monuments, I talk to the monuments, I go there, I spend hours walking, I soak into the energy of the place, and I think all that adds to my story.
Right.
And I think that is important for me. Sitting here, I can probably write a story, but it's not the same story that I would write if I go there.
Right. Because I was paying attention to how you kind of, created the story and went to places, and actually reflected in the writings, and it is also, you know, your painstaking effort to, you know, pinpoint the details. Nobody who hasn't visited can pinpoint those paths, those trailers, you know, all these things. Another thing that I have observed when people unlock mysteries or they're solving mysteries is they do write some codes or maybe a phrase and they kind of continue. You have actually chosen something like a poem and then the letters from a lady who has passed away and unlocking them phase wise and in a different way every few chapters. So was that your original premise? I would choose poems and I would choose letters because letter writing is extinct now.
No. So when I started writing this book, I knew for sure that it was also going to be a love story.
Right.
Simply because the title, you can make out from the title, Mystery of the Portuguese Hearts, okay? There are 2-3 reasons for this. One is, of course, that Portugal, the symbol of a certain area, Viana da Castelo, is a heart. There are lots of things here that you can see later on. They're on display, which I found there, which I collected from there. The Portuguese heart is a very important symbolic representation of that area. So for me, that heart was important. Secondly, the lenços. So all of it was actually leading to a romance, but this was not a romance, of course. This was a romantic suspense. It was going to be a romantic suspense. So for a woman who, okay, so the book starts in 1970 when the Portuguese Revolution is about to happen. And I'm just going to give you a teaser. There's this girl called Anna who's working against the government. She meets this rebellion called Ricardo, who is the owner of a huge wine estate. Cut forward to 74, Portuguese has been liberated, you know, in a very peaceful, bloodshed-less war, and they have a symbol called carnations. They like move around with carnations in their guns. But at 1974, Ricardo and Anna have to separate. Okay, so they've done something because of which they have to separate. That's the thriller part of it. Now, when I base a story on this premises, you know, where there's a love story, plus something has happened which is now going to reflect as a consequence along the book, then all of this has to come together in a very, what should I say, in a 40-year span. Now, 40 years ago, there was, I don't know, was there internet? No, I don't think so.
No.
Anyway, so Anna leaves a trail of lenços, which are actually love letters for Ricardo, but they're actually also a trail. So Philippa, who is Ricardo's granddaughter, and Ray set out to find out what this trail of lenços is. And it has to be, so at every point he finds a letter written to Ricardo, which unfortunately he never reads, but Philippa reads. And that is why the letter writing came into this whole thing. So there was a touch of nostalgia, there was a touch of hauntingness to the romance, there's a touch of unfulfillment to the thriller, because of course there are murders along the way. It's not only a love story. So all this had to come together in a very, how should I say, in a very comprehensive manner, and letters formed a big part of it, yes.
Right. One question which kind of, you know, just popped up when I was sitting here is, you've been to the place, you've marked out the, you know, the spots, you've created a story around it. How important and useful was your connect with the people there, and the information, if you had any from them, or they were like voluntary or good enough to come out, okay, this is the story regarding this building, there are some haunted buildings here, this is the castle out here. So how important and useful that information was while...
Very important, because I'll tell you, since I was invited, okay, I was invited there as an author to write a thriller in Portugal, I was given the royal treatment. Okay, so I had a car, I had a driver, I was taken from one end of Portugal to the other end, I was kept in really heritage hotels. They looked after me. I was treated like a writer. I think I'm really grateful for them, because, you know, writers, basically no one even bothers about them. But to be treated like royalty, you know, was absolutely great. They had teams at every location to meet me, to show me the place. And places where I wasn't met with anyone, I had to manage on my own. So I would like to narrate a story which is about this place where no one met me.
Right.
Okay, so So, they told me that there's this driver who's going to take you from left side of Portugal to right side. And I said, okay, where is he going to stay? They said, oh, he doesn't need to stay anyway. He'll drop you and come back. And in my head, I'm thinking of India. If somebody has to move from one end of the country to another, imagine distance and all that. So things like that started working in my head, saying, okay, it's such a small country in the northern part. And so they dropped me off at Freixo Esparracinta, which is the border of Spain and Portugal. And the Douro River, which is like the heart of the wine country, Porto wine, we all know Porto. The river flows between Spain and Portugal. And they sent me there for 3 days. And the moment I went there, the doors of the entire village was a sleepy old town. There was no one to meet me. I was put up in a nice, decent hotel, but there was no one to meet me, and there were no cars. And the village, the doors, windows were shut. There was no one in the village at all. And I said, oh my God, where have they sent me? I mean, all this while they took good care of me, and suddenly they pushed me into some corner of Portugal. I said, oh shit, sorry. And then I said, now what do I do? So I called them up and I said, listen, I've seen enough. I want to come back. Take me to the next place. Said, no, sorry, your whole itinerary is planned. You have to stay there for 3 days. So I said, okay, now that I'm here for 3 days, okay, let me have some me time, because I'd done a lot of Portugal time. I said, let me do some me time. So I started walking everywhere, lonely villages, no one, the few old people who talked to me would talk to me in Portuguese, which I didn't understand. I walked for 3 days, totally tired and exhausted. I said, now it's like, I'm done. Let me go, move on to the next, point. And then the third afternoon, one of the waitresses said, you've moved around so much. Have you gone to Senhora Ernos temple? Okay, she's the patron saint of Freixo, and you have to take her blessings for this book. So I said, okay, I've walked so much, let me walk a bit more. She said, it's only half an hour, you can go. I said, okay. After lunch, I started off, went, into the tiny, went to the outskirts, kept walking, half an hour over, 1 hour over, not a soul on the road. I'm walking into the interiors of Freixo Esparracinta, rolling hillside, started raining. I said, oh my God, what did I do? And then I walked for another half an hour. I said, okay, if the temple is not around this corner, I'm going back, wherever. Luckily, I turned the corner and the temple was there right on top of the hill, pouring in the rain, and it was shut. I said, oh God, she didn't want me to come, and I just didn't listen to my instinct. I listened to that waitress. So anyway, I went there and I said, no, now that I'm here, I went from the side and I took her blessings. I said, please bless this book, everything. And now when I'm going back, just make the journey shorter somehow, because I was so tired. Anyway, so I started, it was pouring. I took some shots and some reels to feel better about it. And I started walking, and halfway through, I desperately wanted to go to the washroom. So it was like almost 4 hours now that I was walking. And I said, if only a car would come down this lonely road right now and stop by and say, can I give you a lift? And I said, Senora Ernos, I came all this way, please do this for me. Just humoring myself like you show in films. So I walked, and then, you won't believe it, a car did come down the road. And long, beautiful car came down there, and I said it was going to pass me by, I thought. It slowed down and stopped. And I got startled, on this old lonely road, a car and all that. And then the driver pops his head out and says, are you Manjiri, Prabhu? And I was like, God, where am I? And I said, yes. He said, oh, you know what? The VP of Freixo Esparra is looking for you. We've been looking for you for 3 days. We couldn't find you. And I said, I'm right here. So, no, now, we are going to take care of you and, lead you there and show you all the spots which I couldn't see because there was no car. And then they took care of me, and of course I went to the washroom first. And then they showed me the beautiful spots of Freixo Esparracinta. And by the time I left Freixo, I was in love with it. And I was in love with this lady, the VP, who is called Anna, by the way. And I fell in love with her, and that's why you have an Anna, who is the main character here. But it was definitely, Senora Ernos, who listened to my prayer, because she realized that I really took the effort of walking right up to her temple and took blessings for the book. So you see, this part of the story reflects in the book. So these are experiences which you cannot get if you write a book from here. And every time if somebody is taking care of you, you won't get these experiences either. So sometimes you need to be on your own and to connect with the spirit of the place and to understand what's going to happen in the future.
And they say, films have no, connect with the ordinary, normal lives of people. They do. They pick up stories from this. This is truly filmy. Walk on thief types, haunting stories.
Yeah, I was shocked. Yeah, didn't expect it.
So, probably final question before we open up for the audience is how has your perspective changed about Portugal, and the connects that you have made, they also know a bit about India, or they would have researched about India, apart from the historical, which you don't want to kind of not touch base, the positive parts. So how good is the positive part, the positive impact on you uh, after visiting Portugal and writing this book, and your connects out there with your interaction, how positive are they about India overall?
I think the positive connect reflected in the way they treated me. I mean, even the driver had read about me. He said, "Oh, Indian Agatha Christie," and I was like so shocked. I said, "Even the driver, would our driver know?" I mean, I'm not sure. Probably wouldn't. I mean, if a writer was to come, I know for PILF we get in so many writers. I'm sure our drivers don't know who's coming. Our volunteers also don't know who's coming. But there, people knew who I was. They had read about me. They had made sure that I was looked after. They made sure I had enough grist for my thrillers. Right. And so reflection. And even after I came back. This is also interesting. Even after I came back, the story took a long time to be written, because normally when you write a destination thriller, I usually base it in one city. And then I use the architecture there and the old village and whatever culture there to take my story forward. This time, since they took me to almost the whole of the North Portugal, there were 6 places that I had to involve in the story. Now, I needed to justify through my plot why I'm going from one place to another and what am I going to, kind of use from that spot. So it took a long time for me because I just wasn't happy with the way things were going with my novel. And, I kept procrastinating, writing to them and saying, that, okay, it's happening. 1 year later, when I still didn't have anything, I did get in touch with Claudia, who is the tourism director here. And I said, I met her in Delhi, in fact, and she chatted with me about everything except the novel. And I was curious, I said, listen, I went a year ago to write this, to research this book, and I haven't even written 1 chapter as yet. Are you not worried? This author came from India, enjoyed herself and went back and nothing from her. So you know what she said? She said, you're a creative person. Yeah. You will take your own time. And this understanding of an author and a person they didn't know anything about. It's not as if we had old relations, I knew them 20 years ago and now they're trusting me. They didn't know me at all. Just that an artist needs time to write, and I will finally deliver. This trust in me says everything. It says everything about how they treated me.
No, I know for sure a sequel is coming.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
In due course of time. Yeah.
Never know. You never know.
Yeah, sure. So let me take a break and give you. You're not going to get a break.
No, okay.
Let us open up the session for the audience. Any particular questions? Yeah, sure. Please, the gentleman.
My name is Christian Peinfalk. I have a special relation because I'm from Salzburg, so the trailer 4. But I just wanted to ask, did you get any feedback from your readers about the stories they read, and did they get any experience in the cities where they followed your trail, sort of?
Oh, yes, some of them did. Okay, the first one is the trailer 4. Normally so it's based in this Schloss Leopoldskron where the film Sound of Music was shot. So usually the tours there say, let's go to Schloss Leopoldskron where the film Sound of Music was shot. For the first time after the trailer 4 came out, Panorama Tours, which is a very famous tour there, said, please go to Schloss Leopoldskron where the trailer 4 was based. And I think for me, this is quite an achievement, but that's commercially. Personally, there were a lot of my friends who actually took a detour. I don't think Salzburg was very famous that time, if I remember right. But a lot of my friends actually went to Salzburg only because I'd based a book there. Or for that matter, the runes, the Voice of Runes, which is based in Lund University, and it talks about the rune stones and the rune language. And a lot of people actually wanted to know more about the runes. Thirdly, Legend of the Snow Queen, which is based near Lake Starnberg and where King Ludwig II was found drowned in the lake. And it's about Sissi, who's the Empress of Austria. And after reading that, there's also this Netflix serial called The Empress. I don't know if you've seen it, but a lot of people wanted to see the Empress because they'd read the Legend of the Snow Queen. So there is definitely curiosity which is generated, and I think it's a good thing because sometimes you go to the popular spots in Europe, you know a lot of them, like you go to Switzerland and Paris and everything, but there are certain things about certain areas which would only come, and they're not very commonly known, and probably if you base a novel there like I do, they become common knowledge and people are curious about it. So yes, there's been good reader feedback and curiosity about those places, which is what I want.
Hi, Manjiri.
Hi.
First of all, congratulations and God bless you.
Thank you.
With a lot of success. And it's an honor for me to know you.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something. Like you said, you went to all these places and definitely you must have taken down some notes and pictures or, thing. And then you say for 1 year you had that thought block.
Yeah.
So, how do you overcome that? Because, sometimes you want to write and you're writing something and, it happens to me very often. I'm writing something and then I say to be continued.
Yeah. Mm.
So how do you tackle with that? Because it took you 1 year.
Yeah.
So when you've practically been a professional writer now.
Yeah. So actually,
So how do
1
you
year.
deal with it?
Yeah, I of course, writer's blocks are a part of our lives, and you have to deal with them. But to specifically talk about this book, the writer's block started in Portugal. So I was, like I said, I was worried whether I would be able to base a book in all these places. And around days 15 or 16, I thought I'd take a break from all the traveling, and I was in Viana del Castello. I was near the Atlantic Ocean, and I was put up in a hotel, they're very nice hotel, and I thought I'd stop my sightseeing, and I would now write out a draft of whatever I'd written. I had to think of a story that I would base there, because like I said, the story is born from that area. And I was walking on the beach, and I was talking to the spirit of Viana del Castello, and saying, please help me with the story, because I was completely blank. I didn't know what I was going to do. I spoke to Re Parkar. I said, Ray, what do you want me to do? What do you want to do in the story? Please tell me. And I spoke to the ocean. I spoke to everyone. And like I said, the heart is a huge symbol of Viana del Castello. Okay, big symbol. And I was walking on the beach and thinking of all these things and talking to the spirit and saying, please help me with the story. I want to write out my draft today. And suddenly my head goes like this. It jerked to a side, and right on the spot on the beach, I found, Yash, I want to talk. Right on the spot on the beach, I found a pebble-shaped heart. Not the heart that we draw, not a caricature, but like a real heart in the shape of a pebble. To find a heart in a place where the heart is a symbol, where there's a huge cathedral only for that heart, I thought that was symbolic, so I just picked up that heart. I went back to my room. I poured myself half a glass of wine. I opened my laptop and I wrote out the whole draft of that entire plot by 6 o'clock. Now this is where it got started, okay? Coming to your question, because I wanted to tell you the story, but coming to your question of how to deal with the writer's block, I usually go for long walks. I need to connect with nature. Nature is my go-all for everything, everything. I just need to be in nature. I mean, I feel if I don't soak in nature, life doesn't matter for me, that kind of a thing. So I go for long walks and I disconnect from the book completely. I just keep it aside because I know that I cannot force myself to write, because when you force yourself to write, you're writing mediocre stuff. It's not coming naturally. And when you write naturally, you're writing real stuff. Okay, so the flow has to come naturally and I wait for it to happen, no matter how much time it takes. Yeah.
So there are your few tips. Find a symbol, pray, and...
Oh yeah, if you believe in it, yes. I know that was slightly sarcastic, but if you believe, let me add this, if you believe in it, do it. You will find your answers.
Congratulations, Manjiri.
Thank you.
Yeah, Harshal. So my question is how difficult it was for you to remember the names, especially because this is not, our first language, second language, and you had done maybe pre-COVID, and then when you came back, did you feel the need, oh, I missed some important names or some important facts, figures about that place, wish I could have taken it in more detail or something while writing? So that's one question. And second, PILF, Portuguese International Lit Fest.
I wish. I don't mind. But yes, names, very difficult. I don't even remember names of Indian people. Okay, so I meet somebody after 2 months and it's difficult for me. I remember faces though, but I will not remember names. So I'm bad at names anyway. And so names in Portugal, you are absolutely spot on. I had a tough time, and they all sound different, they spell different, and I took time to, so before I went to the Portuguese launch, in Delhi, I practiced. I practiced a lot of the names so that my tongue got used to those Portuguese ways of saying it. But yes, it was very difficult. And what was your other question? Yeah, PILF, of course it can be Portugal. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, Manjiri.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
I'd like to ask you, how would you reach out to Portuguese readers? Like, would you consider translating your books into Portuguese or other foreign languages, like, so that many more people will have access to your books and read about, read your stories.
Yeah.
So
So specifically for this book, I'm sure the Portuguese people don't want it to be in Portuguese because they're trying to target the world. They want everyone to come to Portugal. So it could be in any other Indian language or any other language, but not Portuguese. About my other books, all of them, I would love them to be in different languages, of course, because that's it. And I have an agent who's trying for it, and maybe one day, who knows? Yeah.
Hi Manjiri, congratulations Vanita.
Yeah, hi.
Just one thing, who's your favorite thriller writer?
Oh my God.
Curious, because I read a lot of thrillers and I have my own favorites, just curious about it.
I have, when somebody asks me who's my favorite thriller writer, I have to just say me. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you, there was a time when I was a crazy avid reader. I mean, really. After that, I realized that I need to read I like to read what I write. I enjoy it. And I love it so much that I will go back and read my own books. And that's why I'm my own favorite writer, to be very honest. Right now, I don't get the time to read. I know this is a very fashionable thing to say and very useless thing to say, that I don't get the time to read. But honestly, with the kind of energy I have and the kind of things I'm doing, if I have a certain hours of work, I prefer writing instead of reading somebody's work. And when you're writing, I do not like to read anybody's work for the fear that will come into me. So just to be completely Manjiri in my writing, I keep away from all books. But in the olden days, of course, Agatha Christie and all those, and Daphne du Maurier is my all-time favorite. I think she is almost like a goddess to me. And Wilkie Collins, I mean, all those old writers, yes. In the contemporary writers, I like Dan Brown, but the two huge, if I were the editor, I would chop a lot. So, I look very critically at things, so I'm no more just a normal reader, and that takes away a lot of my enjoyment of normal books. So I prefer reading mine.
The job in that moment.
Yes.
Your favorite too.
Yeah, I am.
Hi Manjiri. Once again, congratulations. And I think your book launch was in the typical Manjiresque style with the mystery where we all got our numbers. I was so overwhelmed when that number was called out, so I couldn't say anything. But I have two questions. One is, being a language teacher, I wanted to know, since you are the Agatha Christie of India, and rightly so. When I was a child and I read Agatha Christie, I used to love to read those little French words which were their expressions. So have you also, picked up some phrases and added them in your book? That was one. And secondly, did you experience any culture shock when you went to Portugal? Was it different from what we experience here in India?
Of course, there are French words because Ray is half French. Okay, so he is Re Parkar, and his mother's French, and his father's an Indian classical singer, which is why his name is Ray, this Sa Re Ga Ma and Do Re Mi, so that's why he's Ray. And yeah, it's R-E, it's Ray. So yes, but he doesn't get along with his father. that's why he lives in Paris, and there are French words in the book from whatever French I remember from my last life. Okay, so yes, French words. Secondly, culture shock, I think, except for the food, which I'm a vegetarian. So food always shocks me when I go there. And I particularly remember first day in Portugal, I'm telling you all these stories, which I shouldn't probably. First day in Portugal, I ordered a mushroom dish. First of all, they didn't understand my English. Then I said, okay, I want mushrooms. So then they said, Christian is laughing, I know that. And I ordered mushroom, and I said specifically, no meat, okay, no egg, nothing. Because I know anything you say, they'll add as veg into the thing. No sauces, everything I told. I said, no, pure veg with sauce and with rice and all that. I said, okay, sounds good. So, and I was waiting and waiting for it to come. The dish didn't come for half an hour, 1 hour. 1 hour later, the dish came. And when it came, I looked at it, and I sorry to say this, but literally I puked. It was filled with mushrooms which are like wiggly, long. I don't know, are there such mushrooms in the world? There are, okay. They were long, with long legs and long stems in a brown sauce. And there was rice, which was half cooked, like totally raw, which I could bite, not even swallow. And I saw that, and I just got up and left the table. So that for me is a culture shock. I mean, and then after that I decided I'm going to just go for a sandwich or something. And the next 18 days I realized what I had to do. But the first day itself I got a culture shock for the food. Yeah. But otherwise, other than that, I everything is fine. Yeah, more or less.
You could have used Google.
Yeah, I could have. I tried that.
Because from the sound, how you kind of described it, it more looks like an octopus rather than a mushroom.
And I did call him and I said, are you sure these are mushrooms? He said, yes, they're mushrooms. I said, I feel I can see them moving, I said. So they just refused to listen to me, and that dish cost me 25 euro. You see, so that's the reason why I'm narrating this, because it stayed in my head that I spent 25 euros for wiggly mushrooms, which I didn't eat.
Hi Manjiri, congrats again.
Yes,
Always so
thanks.
proud of you. Just had a question that cropped in my mind when he said that where you asked, like the people approach you and say things, about like, give you feedback.
Yeah.
And this is aimed mostly at, to generate an interest in that country, and so when people travel. But the locals, okay, people who have read it, okay, just like we identify when the novel was based in Pune and we could identify with it. The locals, have they given you any feedback as to how, like dot on you were about certain things, or certain, what you have researched about it, and what was their feedback to you,
Yeah, blue tick or green tick.
Yeah. Well, so with the Portuguese book, it's just released, so still time for the feedback to come in. But definitely for the Trail of Four. So it takes place in the Schloss, the palace, and a lot of people there helped me with the research there. So when they read the book, and they're all Germans and Austrians there, when they read the book, they told me that it's a fantastic book. I mean, I don't want to keep saying this about myself, it doesn't look good. But honestly, they really loved the book, and they've given me quotes which talk about the authenticity of the content I have included in the book. So yes, I go that extra length only for this kind of feedback, because I'm always worried that if some local is reading it, they shouldn't feel that an Indian author has tried to write a book based in, blah, blah. So I make sure that I have all the right ingredients in the book and from the right sources.
Hi Manjiri, congratulations. I cannot tell you how proud we are of you for putting Pune on the literary map of the world. So, thank you. So your 21st book and 21st baby.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, the first time you published a book versus now with the 21st? How is it must be having...
The mother has matured.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about it?
So the process of writing, nothing has changed. Okay, I mean the same hardships, the same worries, the same struggle to find a publisher. You would think that I'm 21 books old, so getting a publisher is easy. It's not the case. The same thing that happened in the first book is happening now also, because. Okay, how do I put this? Well, there are many writers now, okay? So along the years, in the last whatever years I'm writing, there are also more writers writing, so there's more competition. And there's more fresh writing, Okay, I'm getting older. Young ones are coming in, if you want to put it that way. But at the same time, I'm maturing. But the editors who are coming in all the publishing houses are also young ones. Okay, so there is this, what should I call it? There's an imbalance. There's an imbalance in what I can offer and what the publishing world wants. What the young ones are offering, who are out there and gearing to go and want to establish themselves as, what should I say, like the thing, the next sensation in the world. To compete with them is very difficult, which I don't want to do. So the process of writing a book is the same for me, but the process of getting it published from book one to now, nothing has changed, is just as difficult. Having said that, I will not give this up for anything in the world, because writing for me is not just something I'm doing for the heck of it. I'm doing it because I live on it and I breathe through it. And for me, it's almost like meditation. You know well, Amita's, a lot of people are here. For me, it's like the more I write, the deeper I delve into my writing, the more I understand that I have to let go of ego, which helps me when it comes to finding a publisher. And the more I feel that I am balancing my future, I leave out the expectations, I make sure I'm focused, and it's a journey that has to go on no matter what. So whether publishers take my book tomorrow, if everybody decides we don't want to publish it anymore, it won't matter to me. I will still write. So from book 1 to book 21, it's still just the same. Even when I hold the book in my hand, the joy is the same, the happiness is the same, the satisfaction of completing the book is the same. And I know that, which is the reason why when somebody says 21 books, it's a good thing to say, because self-validation is very important. No matter what the world says, whether I'm a bestseller author or not, doesn't matter to me, because for me, I've written 21 books and I know what I've done for it. So that joy is incomparable and unparalleled. Thank you. I hope I answered your question. I went off tangent.
Congratulations again. I just want to say what a brilliant idea it is to bring an artist to paint along with your book. We usually have...
Oh, are you done? Yeah, she's done. Yeah.
And her work is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
We usually have music and painting, but book launch and painting is not something that I've seen before. So,
and it's done. Sarita, you're done, finished with it? Oh, let's show it. Yeah, let's show. Yeah, of course. Lovely. Yeah, please sign it and...
Manjiri,
yes,
I can't be more proud of any other student than I am of you today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Really, you have made my life worth it today when you have become 21, that you've come of age.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
I'm
ma'am.
extremely proud. And I was just wondering whether French helped you at all when you were doing your various travels, and particularly in the Latin countries and in Portugal, particularly. Did any word of French help you other than the mushrooms that went wrong?
Well, French. Okay, so French is a bit like writing for me. Okay, I started French in school, 7th, 8th standard, and we were to choose between that, and then in college, and then under MA, Surekha Kher. I don't think you can see her, but she's sitting right there. And so for me, French is something that goes along with me, whether I speak it or not, or whether I feel I did it in my last life. But definitely, to answer your question, French may or may not have helped me, but I will write a novel in French one day. And that is one of my goals. Other than that, my next destination thriller, which is a secret one, but the one after that is going to be France. So all the French I've done in my life, and all the French I love, and all the France I want to see, I'm going to do in my next destination thriller.
Are you going to the Paris Olympics?
No, no. Yes.
Hello, ma'am. I would like to know, with this unusual genre, which place would you choose from India to write a novel?
Oh, God. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one, because everything in India is so good. And it's so historic and so fantastic and so steeped in history and religion and, ancient knowledge. But I know for sure that it'll have to be ancient knowledge. It cannot, because Ray is spiritual, so it will have to be something that will take him to some esoteric, some
Exactly. There are
different
so
place,
many.
something. But I don't know what it's going to be right now, because that's going to be the last book in the series when Ray comes to India.
Great.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so Sarita's done, and we have to. Wonderful, Sarita. Let's just display that. Let's do that. And we take it. Amazing.
I wish you keep on writing, and so another hidden talent of Sarita gets unveiled today. I knew she was a dancer, but
It is not a hidden talent. She's a brilliant painter. Okay, let me explain what Sarita has done. So she managed to get the bridge, okay, with the moons, which is like typical of this Amarante bridge. And she got the cathedral, and she has the figures here while they're listening to the song that Anna sang. And of course,
the clouds.
she got the clouds, yes, she got the clouds, and this sense of nostalgia and of things gone by and a little bit of repentance of not having finished. There's an unfinishedness to it. And yeah, I just love it. It's really lovely. It's beautiful, yeah. The hint of twilight plus fading light and the evening glow, yeah.
And
Very nice.
She like quietly slid away and let
Where
me
is
see
she?
what I've done.
Thank you, Sarita. That's beautiful. Come here. Okay, come.
Ask her some questions. Manjiri, Sarita, did you find anything difficult than what she read and what you are painting here?
Giving the texture to the building. My natural tendency is to do small details, and I take my own time. So challenge was finishing it in time and still sticking to the perspective. And she had told me about the half moon thing, and I had to focus on that as well. And twilight colors.
Yeah, and also it's very difficult to have this huge building plus the figures. That is the biggest challenge, to have even human figures on top of the bridge. Yeah, I think that she got very well. You want to tell us a bit about the process?
I don't know what to say.
How did you go about doing it?
You hear something and then you translate it into a work. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hearing something.
Yeah, so I knew the name of the bridge. So I looked for the images online. Most of the images were from water level, like from human viewpoint. And from there you couldn't see the figures. So I had to fabricate my own viewpoint, bird's eye view, so that you can see a little bit of the top of the bridge as well as the water, because she wanted the reflections, she wanted the skies. So I just changed the viewpoint to something that is not really human.
But you managed to get the first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely amazing. Let's give a big round of applause to Sarita. And I must say that, her being an architect reflects in that.
Yes.
The bridge is perfect.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes, the facade, absolutely. And Amit, she's not only a brilliant architect, she's a brilliant painter, she's a brilliant dancer, she's a brilliant cook, and she's a brilliant friend, and a lovely, beautiful person inside out. Her singing,
We were
her
fortunate
singing.
enough to see her live performances.
Absolutely, thank you to me. Yeah.
But I have not tasted her food yet.
That
Probably someday.
let's leave it to her.
Sarita, so that
Thank you
calls
so
for a
much.
treat for all of us. So thank you, Manjiri and Amit, for the most insightful conversation. That was brilliant.
And we are looking forward towards another set of 21 novels in due course of time, with certain sequels in place, public demand, and your own creative. You can take your time.
Okay.
And thank you, Sarita.
I wish you keep on writing for a lifetime, because, being the pride of Pune, we would love you to write and keep on writing. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of you. And Sarita, yes, that was a gorgeous translation of Word to Paints. and I'm sure Manjiri will preserve it as a part of collections from her literary journey. With that, the conversation comes to an end, but the books are outside for sale and the author is also here, so we can get them signed from her, and make sure that you get the copy signed. Also, there are refreshments right behind the hall. Please do enjoy a cup of tea and snacks. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending your Sunday evening, your precious Sunday evening with us, and for being such an amazing audience. Thank you, PILF and team and the volunteers. 3 cheers for the mystery of the Portuguese hats.